this computer. Cool. Oh, cool. Okay. So one of the things I've been seeing on many of the Facebook pages in some of my groups is a lot of the overwhelm, or I've been feeling it for you guys, because I know when I first started my practice, or I was in the first couple years of my practice, I did everything. And it wasn't until a couple years ago that I finally smartened up and kind of put some kind of pillars in place for automation. So today I want to talk about some of my favorite ones. And then if you guys are using any of these systems and you want to add anything to it, or you have questions on it, like I said, I can only speak to my experience for what works for me. And I know that automation is, as dietitians, like we're really type A. I am like the world's biggest control freak. And so letting go of some of these things, even putting them, technology wise, have been really challenging. But I've written blogs on online automatic scheduling. I would have to say, single-handedly, if there is any one thing you can do for your practice, it would be to automate the scheduling process. Okay. In all of the major scheduling systems, for the EMR. So, right, we have Practice Better, we have Healthy, we have Calyx, we have Simple Practice. Obviously, that's what we use in my practice. But taking you out of the mix is the most important thing, because going back and forth with your clients, you guys know, right? Like if somebody needs to reschedule, it's like, okay, so this day works for me, but that day doesn't work for you. That time works for you, but that doesn't work for me. So if you think about all the time that gets invested in rescheduling appointments, it is maddening. So I have been doing automatic scheduling since probably 2010. And so obviously prior to using EMRs, I used Acuity. I use the HIPAA compliant version of Acuity. I've been acutely aware, and something I'm going to put on for you guys is a little bit of a refresher on HIPAA. I'm not going to go through that right now, but I think there's a lot of things that we probably as private practice dietitians can do better from a HIPAA compliant standpoint. If you're working for yourself full time, it's so easy to forget a little bit about HIPAA. When I worked for Yale, right, like we always had those annoying trainings, which at the time were really annoying, but now I actually like seek those out. And so I do want to talk about HIPAA, maybe in the next couple of months with you guys, because I think there's some things we can do better. And there's some things we should be mindful of. But the EMRs are all HIPAA compliant, meaning you sign a BAA agreement. So a business associate agreement with these, with these scheduling sites. So if you have not automated your process, I think this is such a good way to spend any available time that you have. So, so on my scheduling, so you guys know when you go to amyplano.com, it's been automatic. Like I said, since 2010. So you come here, you verify your insurance, right? You come down here, you call your plan, then you come over here and you schedule your appointment. Okay, so all electronic. And I know some dietitians are very fearful, of doing this, but you gotta trust the process, because the alternative of back and forth is super frustrating. The cool part about online scheduling is when done correctly, it prompts them, depending upon your system, to put in their credit card, right? So bang, right here. Okay, so this is the Simple Practice widget that we embedded on our website. So it removes a lot of the awkwardness of asking for their credit card. Almost all of these systems, whether it be an EMR or Acuity, you can either embed on your website. But if you were like me, when I first started my practice, I didn't have a website. So most of these systems have a standalone link, that you can send to your clients. So you don't have to have a website. I know like a lot of us are a little anti social media, but like, say you're on Instagram, like you could embed the link into Instagram for people looking to book a discovery call, looking to book an appointment. Anytime I want to say like everybody, including my father, like anybody that needs to schedule any type of appointment with me, I send them the link to my schedule. And then you can customize the types of appointments, but there's no more back and forth. There's no more that time doesn't work for me. If somebody texts me and like one of my patients and says, oh, I can't make, my appointment tomorrow, like, I said, head over to the link, just reschedule on your own. I'll take you out for tomorrow, but there's no more back and forth. And I've seen a lot of conversations on the Facebook page about hiring a scheduler. I think unless you have like 10 dietitians on your team, you probably you need like somebody to pay. Like I said, if you invest in a good EMR or a scheduling system, that can be worth its weight in gold. So also, what's awesome about a lot of these programs is the text and email reminders, all automated. As long as you're clear in your email and text reminders, in terms of like, what you expect, it's a great place to start. I'm going to stop my share on my screen. I just want to log into Simple Practice and I want to show you guys, like, just what it looks like in my Simple Practice for the reminders. I recently cleaned it up a little bit, actually last night, to make it a little bit clearer, but I want you guys to see what I mean when I say be clear with your reminders. And then you won't have to worry, about people following directions. So if we go client reminders, okay, cool. So now I can share. Okay, so let me share again. Okay, so this is what I want to show you guys. Okay, so this is the reminder they get in Simple Practice. Once again, it is a little bit lengthy, but it tells people exactly how to proceed. We've had people show up so many times in our office for the telehealth visits. We are doing physical visits, but only with a handful of patients. So more people we will go into the office for certain patients like Cigna, but like I said, we are very specific in terms of how you proceed with people. So what I wanted to zero in, failure to show up online and on time at your scheduled visit will result in an $80 charge for follow-ups and a $180 charge for new patients. Okay, once again, we repeat it down here. Charge will be charged, $180 for an initial, $80 for a follow-up. Okay, so once again, I know there's been a lot of questions on the Facebook pages about paperwork. Okay, I want to be as straightforward as possible. If all of your intake paperwork has not been completed in its entirety, I need to put in within 24 hours of your appointment. We will cancel your appointment. Notice I don't say we reserve the right to cancel your appointment. We might cancel your appointment. When you set up automations, you want to remove any uncertainty. Okay, so like I said, you guys can choose to do whatever you want with your reminders, but I want you guys to be crystal clear with people. Number one, that they're going to be charged, you know what I mean, and say it repeatedly, a couple of times. So to me, that's been the most pivotal part of my practice, is having that online scheduling. Okay, so super clear with that. So automations, don't need a scheduler. You don't need an assistant, more than likely. Set yourself with automated scheduling. Okay. Same thing with the onboarding process, right? Okay. Even when we were using Acuity, we were always taking people's credit cards. Okay. Since 2009, we've been taking people's credit cards. So in the onboarding, prior to that, I used to send all of the forms via a non-encrypted email, so not HIPAA compliant. get people's insurance cards via a non-HIPAA compliant platform. So if you go through, you have to do things according to HIPAA, because each violation is like an insane amount of money. So God forbid somebody hacks your email. God forbid somebody steals your phone. You have to have a way to protect everybody and everything. So forms that I include in my onboarding process, and I have for you guys in Kajabi, in the practice resources and form vault, privacy practices. So basically, how does your office operate within the realm of HIPAA? So, how do people get their records from you? How are you storing their records? Remember, if you have a website, you have to have your privacy policies linked on your website. Okay. Consent to treat, bill insurance, liability form, communication form. If you guys are doing consent for telehealth, we also put in a request for medical records. So if we need, the referral, if we need to get their labs or their progress notes, we already have that on file and we're good to go with that. And Kathy has a good question. Late cancel fee and reminder. I charge the full rate. Okay, so I charge $180 for an initial visit. That's my cash visit. And I charge $80 for a follow-up. Okay, so I feel very firmly about the fact that if I'm sitting here for a follow-up and I block that in my time, I still need to get paid for the full time. I know there was a question last week on one of the Facebook pages about this, and some people say they charge a percentage. I try not to be an asshole on some of these Facebook pages, so often I keep my mouth shut, but I think you're worth your full rate, or I wouldn't encourage you to charge that rate, right? So I think I am worth $180 an hour. And remember too, I have a group, so I have to pay, so the dietitians, if the patient doesn't show up, they are in the driver's seat. They tell me whether or not to charge the card on file. But it is within our policy to do that. So, so yes, in our onboarding process, everything is gathered. So all of the forms, a front and back of their insurance card. And remember, the back of their insurance card will have the phone number that you need to call if the claim is rejected. Okay. Every single insurance policy is more or less going to be different. So even with a Blue Cross Blue Shield product, right? You may have to call a federal program, you're going to call Chattanooga, Tennessee. You know what I mean? You're going to call a different number. So front and back of their card and a copy of their driver's license. We have them all upload that all through Simple Practice. There's a patient portal. I have tried to be 99% off of text and email. Once again, not for any reason. That's aside from the fact that anytime you do something in a non-encrypted email or it just risks everybody. But with that being said, I just took a HIPAA course last week, and one of the things they talked about, if you tell your patients that if they want to email you these things, and as long as you're clear with them that it is not encrypted email that you use, and it is not, consistent with HIPAA policies, as long as you're clear with them, you are fine in terms of how you communicate. Okay, so we'll come back to this question, Gwen, because this one's not necessarily on automation. So we'll come back to that one. Okay. So onboarding, like I said, get everything. Once again, I collect no forms. The only time there is an additional step in the automation process is if the dietitian goes in and sees that we're missing a copy of the insurance card. Then we will reach out to them, release another link to the portal, and circle back to that. So in terms of the onboarding process, you don't want to be going back and forth with that patient. Get rid of any unnecessary steps. So I used to say you don't need an EMR. I didn't switch to an EMR until December of this year. And it was just because it was like everything for me was an Office Ally. Best decision I ever made. So if you're not using an EMR, definitely consider it, because it will make everything so much more streamlined and so much easier. Okay, so scheduling, number one, numero uno. Okay, we are not going to be taking time to schedule, right? Okay, number two, onboarding process. Let's streamline it. Let's make everything safe. Let's make everything easy for you. Let's pull it all into one specific system. Okay, so if you are somebody like me who is constantly onboarding new employees, okay, or new independent contractors, if you're hiring new people to your team, Jesus take the wheel, because I know for me it's like my least favorite process in my life. But you want to also streamline that. So if you're hiring employees, obviously you can have an employee training manual. I have a welcome packet. I have a series of videos and emails, and I actually set up their training similar to what's in Kajabi. Okay, so once again, one and done, right? If I'm going to do something more than once, I'm going to do my best to automate the process, right? So in that welcome packet, it's going to have the W-2, it's going to have all of the information about my practice. So then I don't have to repeat myself over and over again. So whether it be training them on insurance, training them on office policies, I usually have a video showing them how to do that. So if somebody emails me and says, how do I do X, Y, and Z? I'll say, hey, head over to Kajabi, check out the video, and let's circle back once you've reviewed the video. Okay, so once again, I try to automate anything I possibly can, in this process, in terms of adding anything to my practice. Okay, so remember, if it's not a new employee, and like we talked about in the webinar about building out your team, then no, you cannot train independent contractors. Okay, there's a big difference between employees and independent contractors. And I do discuss that in building out your team in that webinar, but you just want to make sure that when you're hiring, you understand the difference, because you're not going to train an independent contractor. That is like a big no-no in the IRS's eye. So employees are a different beast. This is something I'd like to see more dietitians doing. I don't see a ton of dietitians doing it right now. Is like a true offboarding process with your clients if you're selling packages and programs. So if somebody comes through your channels and they finish up a package or a program, you want to have a way to, number one, say thank you. And number two, if testimonials are something that you're going after, you want to streamline this process as well. So there's many programs, whether it be MailChimp. I am obsessed with Kajabi. It's expensive, but the capability of Kajabi, not only just for hosting courses from a marketing standpoint, and I can show you guys kind of some of the cool things that it does, but setting up an email sequence. Okay, so once the client is done with their experience, can you create a set of template emails that say thank you, and then tell them the next steps? So say you're using Practice Better, and maybe they were enrolled in one of your courses in Practice Better. You want to tell them what's going to happen with, say they have logins, so what is going to happen once the relationship is over? Do they lose access to anything that you provided them to? What do you do specifically when the relationship ends? So, when I offboard dietitians in my group coaching program, I have an offboarding process in terms of the template emails that I have set up, and I have them set up as soon as the course starts. So the course for my next course starts next Saturday. And so I have created the offboarding process to start within the 5th month. So it starts automated, in the 5th month. I have an email sequence set up that tells them exactly what to expect. So they can expect another 6 months of access to the trainings. The Facebook page closed down. Would they be interested in giving a testimonial? For dietitians that have completed my group program, or for any dietitian that refers other dietitians to my group program, I give a $250 referral fee to the dietitian referring that client. So I say that in my offboarding process. I say, if a dietitian mentions you by name during their discovery call, I just sent out like 3 checks this morning, literally right before this call, walked out to the mailbox, put a check in the mail. People know that. So I say that in my offboarding process. So people know, they're going to be rewarded if somebody, refers just based on their referral. So I use Kajabi for generating all of my email sequence, but, and then I have in the resource vault for you guys, I have sample testimonials in a swipe file that you guys can use in Google Forms to collect testimonials. Okay. But I think it's really nice when you're working, and you've established a relationship with your patients, or for me, I've established a relationship with the dietitians. Like, I want to thank them. And then I want them to know exactly what are the next steps. Okay. So for me, I welcome them into this membership. They get a discount. So it's just a nice way. And once again, I have the sequences set up automatically. So when they enroll in the program in month 5, so most of the dietitians start to freak out. I send out an email that reassures them. Okay, you have another 6 months of access. So say you're working with clients, you just want them to know what are the next steps. And say you have an upsell, or say you have a transition program. Can you tell them about that, maybe a month before their package is ending, so then they can kind of think about the process. Okay, so the offboarding process, I think, is really important for closing the loops with your clients, and for setting the stage for future referrals, right? So it's a lot easier to keep the current clients that you have than to acquire new ones, right? So my job, 90% of my job is keeping you guys happy, right? If I didn't run another group program and I had all of the amazing dietitians that I've been fortunate enough to work with over the last 3 years, if I could keep you guys happy, then I have done my job. Okay. So I'm, as much as obviously I need to move my business forward and acquire new clients, that is not at all where my time is vested, right? It's vested in you guys, and making sure that you're happy. And so I think personally, having an offboarding process kind of is consistent with that, because it teaches it lets your clients know that you're appreciative of them. And if they had a good experience, these are the next potential stops. Okay. So can we automate that? Like I said, in Kajabi, there is, in the general resources vault, I have tons of suggestions for marketing software, different, like I said, I just chose Kajabi because I really like the versatility of it. It's expensive, but it pays for its, I just need 1 client per month to pay for it. So offboarding process, something I want you guys to think about, if you're not doing it right now. Okay. Also, another one, I see a lot of dietitians with really awesome websites, but no way to capture leads, or even nurture those relationships, right? So when you go to reimbursementdietitian.com, I'm just going to use this one because it's a better example. So I have an opt-in, right? Above the line, it's called above the fold, right? I'm on a 27-inch Mac, so it should be above the fold on most desktops, but you want to have a way for potential clients to opt into something that is awesome. Okay. I say awesome because how many times have you opted into somebody's list and in return you got a bunch of garbage? You know what I mean? So you want to make whatever you're giving away as your freebie to attract these clients into your funnel, into your email funnel for marketing, that it's really good. Okay. So, so for here, my client's biggest pain point is getting started. So yours might be, something with eating disorders, yours might be something related to weight loss or diabetes, but what are the biggest pain points of your current clients and how can you solve them with some cool cheat sheet, a checklist, something that's good, man, something that's so good you could charge money for. Okay. Once again, my clients struggle with getting started. I want to give them something that even if they never bought anything from me, they'd be like, dude, Amy P, like her shit's good. You know what I mean? Never be afraid of giving away too much. Okay. I die a slow death. Never, please never say that in my presence. You can never give away too much free shit, right? Like, you go to my resources. I basically teach you how to build, a private practice, most of it for free. So, my goal once again is to serve you guys. So you just want to make sure that you have an opt-in, that generates a real interest, right? And that you give them this download and it helps them solve a problem that they have, right? A big problem that they have. So if somebody does my cheat sheet, it gives them the first 6 steps. It gives them my module 1 of my group coaching program. Okay, so it's something that's real. So going back to that, like I said, once they opt in, you want to make sure that you nurture that relationship. So most of you guys you guys all get my weekly newsletter. And people think that I'm crazy because I send out a weekly newsletter. Most people send out a monthly newsletter, a quarterly newsletter. I email my group every week because I know it's so fucking annoying when all of a sudden you get in your email box somebody selling you something. It's like trying to sleep with somebody on the first date, right? It's like you're trying to slide into a place that you belong. So for me, I have to earn your guys' trust by showing up with some pretty solid information once a week in your email box. Unless my dad's sick or I'm like, something crazy is going on in my life. I will always be in your email box once a week. Okay. So I use Kajabi to automate that. And so as soon as you opt into any type of product, you get put into my email sequence and you get those emails. So I want you guys to think about, even if you're balls to the wall busy right now in your practice, is there a way that you can be nurturing future clients? And can you give them something that's really pretty freaking awesome? Even something you might monetize in the future, that would get them into your leads. Once again, I have a whole bunch of different suggestions. I used to use MailChimp, the free version, Kajabi, Infusionsoft. There's one with an A, maybe Avid something, but lots of different ones. And I have these all listed in the resources section for you guys. So let's automate that process, right? And let's put some work in now. So as we're building our process and building our practice, we're constantly funneling people into this piece. True story, when I started, so prior to being the reimbursement dietitian, I was the RD boss. I was a general business coach to dietitians opening private practices. And I started my email list, I started emailing my newsletter to 4 people. And that 4 became 6, that 6 became 8. But you better believe that, even though there was only 8 people on my list, I sent out an email to them every week. And within my first 10 people on my email list, I got my first one-on-one client. So never underestimate the power of your list. Never underestimate your following. Even if you have 20 people, that's following you on Instagram, show up every day like you're a boss and like you have 20,000 people following you. You know, like those numbers are insubstantial in terms of the lives you can change with the information you present. Once again, we can never give away too much free information, because you and I all know that it's about the application of this information, right? Most people don't need more knowledge when it comes to nutrition. Many of them do, but most need help implementing it, right? So you show up and you tell them, you tell them why and the what of your population, and then your services show them the how. Okay, so do we have a system for you guys right now, whether it be off of your website or whether it be if you're like a social media guru, like do we have a way to collect people's emails so, so we can communicate with them and build trust, right? That like, no trust factor. Okay. We only buy from people we know and trust, right? And that know, I'm doing air quotes over here, can mean lots of different things, but that's why it's most important to start that process. And I'm going to do a webinar for you guys on the fall, I believe, on email marketing and go more into that. But that's something that should be automated. And that's, and it's going to take a while. Like I have in Kajabi, like I'll just show you like an example of what I mean by automation. So like in my group programs that I offer, I have a whole series of emails that nurtures them throughout the 6 months of working with me. Something you can do with your clients. Once again, I know I'm business to business, but so I've set up a whole email sequence of how many emails? Look at all that. So like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's it's a lot of work, my friends, but look at that, So these automatically all go out, you know what I mean? Keeping them up to date. When are they going to lose access in Kajabi? Some of them are just cheering them on. Some of them are just giving them, talking about some of the, not the fun stuff, but taxes. So this is what I mean by an email sequence. I just created one for the Academy, so for the membership as well when people join, because I feel that there's a lot of information for you guys here in the membership that you may not even know about. Okay, so I did a whole set of automation for you guys, kind of just like summarizing, how do you log in? What should you expect? Where are the phone numbers? Where do you find the webinars? Also, like you're at 28 days, your membership's going to renew in 30 days. Is this something you love? Because I am all about transparency. I don't want to bamboozle anybody, right? I want people in the membership that want to be there, and that not in a way that, but like that they're enjoying this stuff. So I don't want somebody's card to get charged if they're not interested in being there. So this is what I mean by an email sequence. Okay, right? So just giving people a heads up, and communicating with them. Invoices. Okay. Do you run, like, do you have any packages or programs for your clients where they're charged monthly? Okay. So setting up automation with the templates, like I said, I use Square, and Square is pretty cool that you can do. So like my one-on-one coaching clients, every month they get the same bill at the same, on the exact same day, and they can pay it automatically. We use Square, but you can use Stripe to do this, but just automate that process. Back in the day, like I used to have like in my calendar, like charge so-and-so on this date, for like the next 6 months. So make sure you automate that. It may cost like an extra 15 cents to do that, but it will save you the time and the aggravation of doing things later on. Okay. So invoicing, like I said, Square is amazing. I use that for my one-on-one coaching. If somebody has a hard time in Kajabi, I use it for them. I move them out of Kajabi into, so you just set people up automatically, and then the money automatically goes through your business account. Okay, right? We can't have all of this money going into we can't have, none of this money goes into our personal account. So once we set up with Square and Stripe, that money will automatically dump into there. Okay. If you're doing contracts, okay, if you're doing any monthly stuff with your clients, I would highly recommend a contract. And that way it outlines specifically the terms of the contract and obviously what everybody is responsible for. Okay. I had somebody sign up for my 6-month one-on-one group coaching program in December of 2019. Okay. It's a 6-month program. And a lot of times I give leniency because everybody on this call knows that shit happens with insurance. So, so maybe we got to go a couple more calls. Like, I'm not one of these coaches that it's like I try to be super understanding, but I had a contract with this dietitian and she emailed me yesterday and, she wants to have a call. And I'm like, our coaching relationship, I said it in a nice way, but like, we're like 2 years into our, like I always make concessions, but like I brought up the contract, I sent her a copy and I tried to come up with a concession. I said, check out the information in Kajabi. I'll give you access again. You shouldn't have that, but I'll give it to you again. And then let me know what questions you have. But having that contract that she signed and I signed, she wasn't mad and I wasn't mad, but we all need to have boundaries, right? Whether it be with our clients or our patients. And contracts allow us to stick to our guns, so nobody gets taken advantage of. Okay. I am like the first one, like I love to help dietitians, but if I didn't stick by my, my guns in that, then that's taking advantage of me, right? Like that's saying we had a legit contract. So automate those. Okay. So automate those in Square, Dupsado, QuickBooks, Honeybooks, Wave. Wave is free. Anytime you guys have a contract, just automate it. Okay. So then it automatically goes out when somebody is ready to make a purchase. Okay. Don't every single time, like it's like every single time I've had a problem, like I've always been so grateful that, I take the time and go through this step. Okay. So if you're putting your patients on a monthly contract, just make sure they know what that entails. Okay. Social media. Okay. I know you guys, everybody, including myself, has a love-hate relationship with social media. And for many insurance-based dietitians, like they're just not interested in using social media. And I understand and I respect that. But if you're going to use social media and that's something you decide to do, just acknowledge that consistency is going to be key. So whether you decide you're going to post once a week, 5 times a week, every day, just hold yourself accountable to whatever schedule you establish and stick to it, right? Because once again, it goes back to kind of creating that relationship, with your future clients. I do posts every single day, Monday through Friday at 5:56 p.m. I believe I do my one on Fridays at 10 a.m. Because I feel like, that's a better time to capture people on a Friday. By 6 o'clock on Friday, most people are cashed out. So I use Buffer and I schedule all of my posts ahead of time. So this is an example of automation. So this is the platform that I use. I have them go both to my business Facebook page and Instagram. And you can see that they are all scheduled out. I usually write my content 1 month ahead. When I'm doing a launch for my program, I do two a day. So here you guys can see 2 on Monday, right? 2 on Tuesday. So it's a lot of work. Trust me, I'm in it with you guys, right? Nobody writes these for me. Like I don't have a team. Like Amy P is the team behind all of these. So these all need to be written. Once again, I block time in my schedule, but I automate them, right? Once again, if you are doing any social media, please choose one of these scheduling systems. Many of them are free. I have the paid version of Buffer because I like to pay for everything and, you know, take one for the team. But no, I like to schedule really far in advance. So that's why I go with the paid one. I found Hootsuite was like, I don't know, it was like an algorithm that I couldn't figure out. But Later or Planoly, those are some other options. Once again, there's free options for all of them. Once again, you're going to automate them, right? So like maybe you're just going to start off with 2 per week, but like you're going to sit down and you're going to say, okay, that means 14 little posts that I'm going to do. You know, and then once again, I try to show up in my stories Monday through Friday. That's not automated. And that's why it makes it harder to stick to it. But what I want to show you guys too, and I'm obsessed with it, is you know, Creative Market. If you've been a member of the Academy, you know my love for it. I don't use they have templates and like they're dirt cheap. Like if you're just getting started and you want to kind of brand yourself, this is Creative Market. And like I said, you can purchase already pre-done templates, you know, that are already done for you. Like that could be on brand with your colors and things like that. This is a rabbit hole for me. I could spend like, and everything is so dirt cheap. Like I like own like 100 different fonts. Like, you know, most of my logos I've done by myself, and I've just bought fonts from here and then made my own. So like, if, you know, you can't automate the process, but you know, I do the same pattern. It's, you know, once again, it's repetitive, right? I do image, pink quote, dietitian, white one. If you see my Instagram, obviously, you know, you can see, because I'm crazy. I just want you to see, it makes your life easier. I guess that's what I'm trying to, I can't even spell Instagram today. Probably time for me to be done. But you can see if you go to my profile, right? Like, I'm crazy. I'm insane, but that's automation, right? It takes the thought out. Every third day, I know I need kind of like some type of, you know, cheeky coat, you know, but for you guys, look at all these different options for 32 bucks. Like, I mean, like, I want all of these. Anyone that has pinks and purples and pastels, like sign me up. So this is not automation, but they're literally done for you. So, you know, just a fun place for you guys to go if you want to add some more work to, you know, to your table. So, so like I said, that would be social media. So choose a template, whether it be on SD or Creative Market, and just get consistent. Like I said, you can also get consistent in your stories. Like say you don't want to write stuff in Instagram. I generally follow people's stories more than I follow people's posts. So just be sure whatever you're doing is consistent and automate it. So you don't have to worry about it, right? It takes the pressure off of you. I hope people don't think that I have like superpowers that every single day that at 5 o'clock, I'm literally writing that post and sending it out. I mean, that's so far above my pay grade. But so social media, automate it. The same thing with email templates, right? Like, do you get a lot of the same questions from your patients? Like, you know, like anything about, so are there commonly asked questions that you can create? Like in, if you have a Google email, you can create templates of basically any type of canned responses. And when I mean canned, like what I mean is that it's like, you just have a template of it. We have canned responses for when people email us and are looking to schedule an appointment with us. And that canned response says, hey, go to www.amyplano.com, click on the link for insurance, follow the steps. Once those are completed, click on the appointments tab. So anytime anybody's trying to make an appointment with us, we send out the same email. It's very easy. So can we do that for you guys? Like, can we make it as easy as possible? Are there commonly asked questions you get? So I think also in your, I believe in your resources, I think I have a form that I created that like what to expect at your first visit, right? Like when people say to you, what are you going to do with me on my first visit? Or what are you going to do with me on my second visit? So can we create a script when people ask us, Basically it's like automated. We just click on it and we send. Because I'm also crazy, most dietitians put their signature on there. If you've ever received an email from me, it depends what day you've gotten it, but I use Wisestamp, and it depends who I'm sending it to, but you can see, like, I like fun signatures. Here you can click on my feed and see my Instagram account and things like that. It rotates through different quotes. Once again, clearly I'm a typical dietitian who has like OCD. And rather than focus on the big picture, I just focus that my signature looks really cute and cool. But this is through Wisestamp. Once again, you guys know, if you're using Gmail, and then you can pull it in automatically. So then when I go to write an email, and I can click down here, I can change my signature. So nice and easy. Okay, once again, automated, right? So depending upon who I'm sending it to, I might, I have another one for the PCOS dietitian. Okay, so all about automation, okay? Making your life as easy, if not easier as possible. Okay, so taking these things out so they automatically come in. Once again, I know I told you guys if you did any one thing, it was to automate your scheduling system, but I'm going to take that back and I'm going to say this one might be a game changer. So obviously, Unroll Me, if you're not familiar with it, is the coolest thing ever. So say you get like subscriptions, it recognizes any subscription, enrolls it up to one email, right? So it will put like J. Crew in there, Banana Republic, like any type of subscription or list that you're subscribed to. So that way, all day long, you're not getting, the latest promotion from Nordstrom. And then you tell Unroll Me when you want it sent, and then you have one email with all of the emails in it. Okay. And then the coolest part is, the way that it's set up is like, then you move over and it will ask you which ones do you want to unsubscribe to. Okay, so you can clean it up even further. So, you're automating your email box. So you're not getting, like the day-to-day, you're still getting it. But it's, you've rolled it up. Game changer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, go through your email right now, like go to your email screen right now and see how many emails are just not nonsense, but like, you're not going to click on them, so roll them up and then tell them when you want to receive it. The last couple of things are just going to be about money. So retirement savings, I know, super boring and not sexy, but automate that, right? So on the 15th of every month, I automate a withdrawal from my personal account to my retirement account. Okay. I don't think about it. And what I want you guys to think about in terms of this is, you can always change it, right? You can always change your contributions. Like if it ever feels like too much, or you want to, you have an exceptionally busy month and you want to kick in some more, but automate that process. So, so you don't have to think about it and you're building your retirement savings. The same thing with credit card bills and any expenses. Okay. Automate the shit out of all of those, right? So if you have an EMR that you're paying for, any bills related to your business, number one, put them on a credit card. So you either get the cash back or the points, and automate them, right? Like take an hour of your time, go into your business accounts, pay everything, set everything up to pay. I have my cards, I have mostly American Expresses, so I have them pay in full. I have everything pay in full every month. And if that seems really scary for you, I can totally understand and respect that. Set it up to at least pay the minimum, right? Depending upon how you roll, You know, the minimum is always better than nothing. Automate that. That also has been such a game changer. Sometimes I die a slow death when I'm not realizing how big the credit card bill is, and then all of a sudden I see one of my accounts like drop. But I know I have to pay the bills, right? So I might as well automate them. The same thing with money for taxes. Okay, you guys have to pay quarterlies. Okay, come up with an estimate and automatically set up the transfer. So if you're with Bank of America or Wells Fargo, you know, set up a business checking and a business savings, and automatically on whatever day of the month, pull the percentage that you're using for your taxes. Okay, whether it be 25%, 30%, have it pull in to your account. And then obviously you have to send the money to the state and federal, but it's already done for you. Okay, automate that. Then you don't get to April, you know, and you're trying to find all the money. Same thing, payroll, right? If you are an S Corp, you must take payroll. Make sure you choose a payroll company, you know, that automatically pays your taxes. Okay, your taxes have to go to the IRS. Okay, so if I go into my business bank account, you guys will see, you know, I use Square for my payroll system. You'll see, you know, transfers to the IRS automatically, right? So then I don't have to worry about any of this. It was amazing as I was making this list, you know, just how many things I automate. And I think sometimes people think I'm smart, like I'm more crafty than I really am. I'm one of those people, I much rather run the hills and like coast the last couple of miles. So, you know, these things require some effort to set up. But when I tell you, I keep on thinking at all of them like, oh, this is the best one. No, this is the best one. No, this is the best one. You know, so these have been some things that have been, you know, game changers for me in my practice. Like I said, the number one thing is this scheduling stuff. Okay, so and I know like for a lot of us it's baby steps. I hope that, you know, you guys understand baby steps for us all, including me. You know, like I set little small goals every week and then I tackle things like this, right? Like I am by no means a superstar. I am just methodical and intentional with my time, right? And like, I want to be on the phone with people scheduling appointments. Like I need a hole in my, like, that would just drive me insane, you know? So can we automate that, right? Can we automate every single part of our practice? And hopefully the answer is yes. So let me just check out some of the questions in the chat. And then I'll open up the floor to you guys. So Gwen says, so do you make the insurance verified covered before they make the appointment? Sounds like you make the appointment verify. Many times they're wrong and do you therefore end up with a wasted visit? Absolutely, positively not. So in my practice, and I think it's a mindset, it is all 100% on the patient. So in our paperwork, it says that, but when they go to our website, right? Like I have, not Facebook, like it's very specific. Why does it keep on? Okay. That it says to them, if it goes there, you know, so they come here, they click on the tab for insurance, you know, and then it walks them through the process. Then in the onboarding process, when I'm having them sign my communication documents and everything else, it's saying one of the questions on my onboarding process is, have you verified your insurance? Yes. You know, do you have a copay or deductible for your visit? Like they should know that. Are you using insurance for your visit? So, you know, and then there's a part that says, I understand that it's my responsibility to verify my benefits. So they in the patient portal get a copy of all of those documents that they signed. And so they also give us permission to bill their credit card. In the communication form that they sign, it says, I hereby authorize the Plano program dietitians to bill my credit card on file in the event that I no call, no show, don't give a 24-hour notice for a cancellation. I have a copay, co-insurance, or a deductible. So by getting that permission, we have the right to charge their card in the event we get an EOB that we're not paid on. Once again, we make every effort to appeal the claim. So if it's something, because usually if the patient has verified their benefits, you know, they should have some type of coverage. So I do get a little, I don't want to say upset, but a lot of times what happens is the patient verifies their benefits. They have some type of benefit. Then the dietitian tries to like put together the combination that they want to get paid for that visit. And then it may get rejected, right? But it's not really the patient's issue because it's the dietitian's issue for not knowing how to bill and code that visit. So that's why for us, you know, when we get a rejection on the EOB, you know, we spend a lot of time trying to figure out, was it an error on our behalf? Like, did we bill United with place of service 11, modifier 95, when it should be place of service 02? And then if we're still scratching our heads, we do pick up the phone and call. I know that sounds weird, but like most dietitians don't do that. Most dietitians get the EOB, you know, 0 is paid. And then their first question to me is, do I just run the card on file? And I'm like, well, did you verify? Like, did the patient verify? Did you verify? You know, and can we fix this? You know what I mean? Is there a way to get this? If a patient has MNT on their policy, you know, I'm going to tell you a 95% chance I can get that claim fixed for you. If they verified, right? That's my favorite question for you guys. Did you verify or did they verify? If nobody verified, you know, that's a crapshoot. So, you know, we don't know how that's going to go, but no, I've never had a wasted visit because for us, you know, the patient is ultimately responsible, whether or not. That's why, like, it's, you know, because I have to pay the dietitians if the patient doesn't show up. So, you know, like I said, we don't charge the card on file immediately. What we do is patient no calls, no shows, or, you know, we always reach out to the patient first, even though that violates my automation rule. We got the credit card. In simple practice, you literally hit and it like goes through. But we reach out to the patient via email. Hopefully they acknowledge the email. We say to them, hey, we've tried a couple times. It looks like you don't have coverage, or, hey, by the way, you didn't show up for your visit. You know, this is the charge. We give them 48 hours to respond to our email. If they don't respond to our email, we pick up the phone, we call them, we let them know the situation, and then we tell them specifically when they're going to charge their card. Okay. Steps 1, 2, and 3 are all unnecessary because remember, in the onboarding process, we got permission to charge their card, but you know, my intention is like, you don't know, we never know anybody's money situation, right? Like that $80 may be like, you know, sitting in there for food for their family. So we do our due diligence, we tell them what's up. And then if they ghost us, then yeah, you know, all bets are off. We're running the shit out of that card. You know what I mean? But we do make sure that everybody knows that, you know, so you guys saw in my reminder, it says you're going to be charged, no call, no show, you know, so it's like that everybody's clear on that. So there's never really any confusion. Might be some frustration, right? Like nobody wants to be charged for a service they didn't receive. But if you guys have your onboarding paperwork signed and that patient goes and has their credit card company try to reverse the charge, right? American Express is really good. If you ever get a charge that you don't like, you call them up and you're like, yeah, I didn't authorize that. Or if the people won't refund your money. So people can do that to you in your practice. But as long as you've had your onboarding papers all signed, you know, you mean you're good to go. So, so no, I've never had a wasted appointment. Sometimes with Medicare patients, right, we need that referral. But for us, our rule for Medicare patients is if we don't have the referral in our hands within 48 hours, we just cancel out the appointment. We call them and then we call again for the referral, but we won't see any patient in our practice if a referral is required. We do our due diligence, right? 48 hours. Do we have the referral? No. Okay. We're not going to gamble with this one. Let's cancel out your appointment. We'll call to get your referral. If they don't give it to us, you call to get it. And then once you got it, we'll schedule you. But we don't mess around with any of that stuff, because then ultimately we're the ones like left holding the buck, right? Like, so I'm one of the biggest fans of assuming responsibility for the mistakes that we make, but I'm also big on holding our clients to a level that respects our time, right? So it feels like shit to charge people for no call, no shows. Yeah, but you need to communicate with people that your time is valuable. I got ghosted on a discovery call today, and I could tell it was somebody that really needed my help. So I banned them. I went into my scheduling and I'm like, no, dude, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, you can't make another appointment. I don't want to work with people that can't respect my time. So I know I'm crazy, but I just won't allow that. So what questions could I answer? It doesn't have to be about automation. Any things you guys are struggling with, or anything I can provide some clarity in, you guys can, as you know, you can unmic and let me know how I can help.
Hi, Amy. I have a few questions. First, and you might have said this, so I apologize if you did. Your reminder email that you showed us, is that template in Kajabi?
It's not, but I have a version. If not, I can let me make a note for myself. I'm happy to upload something of that nature. What I think I'll add to it, because I just changed it last night. I don't have, even though I have it in my onboarding information, what I think I'm going to add to that email is also a note about copays. So copays and deductibles. It's in my onboarding process, like 6 other spots, but I want people, I don't want to say fear, because I hate fear mongering, but I want there to be like, you know what I mean? I want them to acutely know, don't show up for the appointment. If you show up and you haven't verified, then it's on you, but I'll definitely share that email with you guys for sure. Yeah.
Okay. And then, which I'm very bad with technology, so I don't really know the correct terms here, but I guess I've been kind of thinking, so I did simple practice, but what if somebody like hacks my computer and can like access all of that stuff? Do I need to like, I don't know, in order to be like HIPAA compliant, I guess my question is, do I need like a better security for my computer? Am I making sense?
No, you're making total sense. Okay. And these are all things too that, kind of I've thought about, as well. And that like, I think it depends on the type of computer you have, right? So one of the things I'm going to get next week for all of our computers is antivirus. I don't have like antivirus because I have all Macs. I have 6 Macs, but I've always been under the impression that, so with something like a simple practice, you are protected because you've signed a BAA agreement with them. What I added to my, just to make sure that they're not trying to deliver my Whole Foods order as they blow up my phone. What I've done too is with my liability insurance, I don't think it was that much more. I added in, it's like cyber security or something like that.
Okay.
I added that to my policy. But you can only be so safe, right? So if you have any physical documentation, you have to have 2 points of separation. So this is my home office. So this door gets locked and then the file cabinet gets locked. The computers, both the laptop, they're password protected. And then the entrance into simple practice is password protected. So just having those 2 degrees of separation. But as long as you've done your due diligence, you're perfectly protected. You know what I mean? Like I said, there are going to be things that happen. On the course that I took last week, what they talked about was almost having like a kill switch also on your phone. I'm so not tech, this is like, but like, I guess there's a way if somebody steals your phone to like all of a sudden disable certain apps or something like that. I don't have that clearly. I don't even have a passcode because it's so annoying to have a passcode. But those are all some different places, like, to kind of have into play that will protect you. But the EMRs are like, I guess, is like basically as strong as we're ever going to get from a, like I said, it's as safe as it will be. So, but that's why I always say, like, even with Gmail in Google Suite, which are, kind of protected, try to avoid email unless your patients are fully aware that it's not encrypted in compliant. So yeah, it's a good, I'm not technology, like definitely not my thing either, but for me, like as most dietitians, I'm completely self-taught. So like, like creating all these systems has taken some time. So I just take them piece by piece and then I try to master them. Like I've had reviewing HIPAA, like, so we're in Q2, like I just put things, I don't expect things to get done overnight. So I just put them on my list and then I be realistic. So like, if my goal is to become more proficient, or, understand HIPAA, more correctly, I just kind of take it piece by piece. And then, so for the whole month of June, I'm going to be reviewing the course. So, you know what I mean? But I don't do any, like, I am not like a quick learner. Like, you know what I mean? Nothing comes easy for me. Like, it's like, I must be missing like part of my brain. But like, so it takes me like a really long time. So I'm with you with the technology, but I just chunk things out, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And then Jess, you have a question about CAQH. So what I would do with that, so Jess's question is, Jess is hiring, and so how do we kind of resolve that issue with CAQH? So in most scenarios, if the dietitian has worked for somebody else in the past, generally they have created a CAQ account for them. And so in many situations, the hospital will often release control of that account. If not, then they will have to create a whole separate new account. And then, and then that will be the number up on top, the new one. I think the dietitian can call CAQH. And I think there is some ability because they have her social security listed in CAQH in that first section under personal info. She may be able to reset the password to her. So, so I might try that first because we all know that CAQH is like a beast to fill out, to see, can we get control, indirectly of that account? So then, we don't have to redo it again. But I have the girls in my practice control their CAQHs. That's not something that I do for them. I just have them update them quarterly. But I don't think they would mind sharing their login and password. But as I onboard people, that's really the only thing I make them do. I have them fill out their CAQH, and then obviously I do all the credentialing, contracting and stuff. I know, Jess, you do that too. But yeah, so see if you can get a hold of it, because it will, like, then you can expedite it, right? You just get in there, you're going to add in, as your practice info, your NPI type 2 in there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's what she tried to reset the password on her own, but didn't work. So I think if she calls, that's a good idea, because they should have her social.
Yeah, the social is going to be in that. So it's like, it's a tough situation. Technically it's her account because, you know what I mean? Is it a Yale account or?
It's Hartford Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So they're definitely billing for her. So it's been filled out, which would just make life so much easier if we could just get access to it.
I would agree. Cause then, and then you're going to use that if you have to do a new one, like the new number for her. But it's just like annoying to fill it out. But yeah, see if you can get a hold of it. Like I said, call, user, obviously she'll use her social, and then see if we can just get, the weird thing is I wonder what's going to happen to the name of the account, because, it's like the old one is always, hopefully they would reissue her something. I just laugh because my accounts are so old they all have my maiden name in them. You know what I mean? So I'm just wondering with these when they issue a new account, will they issue a new username and password, or will it be the same? Not that it matters, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. It seems like, and she wouldn't be able to do a new account, but maybe, I mean, it seems like
I
one
wonder if
account per person,
it will
right?
block it because of the NPI.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like in Medicare, if you go and you try to create that account in Medicare, it says to you an account has already been created if somebody has access. Like when I worked at Yale, they billed for me for Medicare. So it's a little bit trickier for that. That's a good point. So
yeah,
see if you can just,
there has to be
a gotta give you access to it. I wonder who does it. It's not HR. It's got to be like the billing and coding department.
Yeah, that's what she's going to call on Monday, like the credentialing department, to see if she can get access to it.
Yeah, annoying. One more step.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so I have several actually, but I use Office Ally, and you mentioned you must get EHR. I went to Simple Practice, Best Decision. I'm like, isn't Office Ally EHR?
Office Ally is a clearinghouse. So I used Office Ally from 2008 to 2020. What Office Ally doesn't have is unless you purchase the paid version, it doesn't have the ability to electronically schedule. And so also, depending upon the number of claims with Office Ally, you will start to get charged. Are you getting charged the $35 per month?
No, I pay. Actually, I use PracticeMate. Okay, yeah. Now, they have a PracticeMate option. So I use that. And now they have virtual visits. They also have
perfect
ability for the patient to schedule and things like that.
Yeah. So PracticeMate is an EMR. Office Ally by itself is a standalone clearinghouse.
Okay.
So that's the main difference. Like, because in PracticeMate, you can chart, you can do telehealth, you can receive referrals. So that is a true EMR. It's not as linear, I think, as some of the more dietitian based EMRs. So like I said, I've used PracticeMate. It's easier in Simple Practice to reconcile claims. We used Office Ally like for almost 1.5 decades. So it's not, you can certainly use it. It was like I felt like Cinderella when we switched to Simple Practice. Like, you know what I mean? I've been using Office Ally for so long. It's like my baby, but then it's like being an orphan. I was like, and all of a sudden I had a family and I'm like, oh, this is like, what have I been waiting for my entire life?
Wow. When did you switch?
I didn't switch until December of this year from Office Ally because I have a group practice and I was getting charged $35 per unique NPI. So I was getting charged like close to $200 a month. And I was still paying for HIPAA compliant scheduling, which is $50 a month. So like it in a standalone fax, so it was never a financial issue. It was just all of my systems were working. And so I'm a firm believer, if it's not broke, then don't fix it. But now everything is nicely, kind of packaged in an EMR. So yeah, it wasn't like, I was just like, push me, I'm coming. Like, I like, I'm fine with what I'm doing. So I'm not going to, change, but I'm very happy I changed. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to see then, you think I should switch? Because I want
like I said, I'm like old, like I'm old school. Like I've done once again, but I also have realized that being old school, and once again, I'm like super open to change. I'm not one of those dietitians. It's just when I have other people working for me, like I don't want to put responsibility on them. So like, when I change, but no, I like Simple Practice. There's a 30-day free trial. And I can give, and I also think I have a code in the Simple Practice webinars, that gets you, but I always say, give it a try. I've tried everything. I've tried Helix, Healthy, Simple Practice, Practice Better. So I like to try everything on for size, see what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah, what's the time commitment for all the transferring if I have a large
it will automatically, you can update. You can call Simple Practice and they'll export all your data from Office Ally into, I wasn't going to move because we have like thousands of patients. I think we imported like 3,000 patients, you know, from Office Ally into Simple Practice. It's stored as text, a text file. So it's pretty easy to import.
So do they take care of the ERAs? Because now my ERAs are going to Office.
Yeah, all the
Ally.
stuff. I get
Don't you love
ERAs
that?
in Simple Practice, EOBs. Well, obviously, yeah. So they're really ERAs because they're electronic. But yeah, everything like automatically posts. Where in Practice Mate, it's a little bit more cumbersome. Simple Practice, it's like this. You know, you get paid. It like washes that one out. Like kind of automatic. It reconciles it. What like any true EMR should do. So you don't need to use like a spreadsheet. We still use a backup spreadsheet because I'm dealing with other people's money and I don't want to screw it up. But I've been very pleased with Simple Practice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm not technology, like I'm not advanced by any means.
Okay, so then the other question was, I went from a sole prop to an S corp.
Yeah. Okay.
So they give you a new NPI, they give you a new TIN. So my question is, when I'm billing, I noticed that in Office Ally, my individual NPI, because you have the billing provider and you have the, what do you call
you
the
have
other
a
one?
rendering provider. So you
The
have
rendering
a rendering provider. And so in box 32 and 33 in Office Ally, the bottom ones, that's going to be your NPI type 2. But remember, you can't put those in unless you're registered with all the insurance companies with those associated with your group. So that you can't put, okay. So, so that's going to be, and then the new EIN, right? That's the one that takes the longest to update with any insurance company. So,
okay. So then I still keep my individual NPI.
Every single claim will, and it doesn't matter. Anybody that's an LLC or an S Corp, all of their claims will have in box 24J, rendering provider, NPI type 1. And then the money is funneling through the group and it's getting paid to the group. So that's why those boxes down on the bottom. And then there's a box for the NPI. So that's NPI type 2. Yeah. So basically what we're telling the insurance companies, right, is that this particular provider saw the patient. So rendering provider saw the patient, but now we're paying the group, you know, the organization. And so that's why box 32 and 33 have obviously the EIN associated with the group and then the NPI type 2. But no matter what claims you submit, they'll always have both because we're paying the group, but so it doesn't matter in my practice whether Audrey's seeing it, Emily's seeing the patient, Stephanie's seeing the patient. We put their NPI on the claim, but then it goes through the Plano program with my EIN because I'm responsible for paying the girls and I pay taxes on all of the money that funnels through that EIN.
So I'm in my own, I'm only one person in my group.
And I think, you know, so, but if you're an LLC, a lot of times, even though you're a single member LLC, the insurance companies treat you as a group. Yeah, so.
Okay, so because I was talking on the phone with Availity yesterday and we were trying to figure out, I was telling them, I said, well, I need to update my NPI 2 and TIN. And so we changed it. And I said, no, wait a minute, what happens to my NPI 1? Does that go away? You know?
No.
So, okay, so when I changed it in their system, it doesn't, so it doesn't delete the NPI 1. They still have that somewhere?
No, because it's going to populate in 2 separate spots. Box 24J is the NPI type 1. So if I were to log into Office Ally,
oh no, it does that for me. No, I get it.
You get it. Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah. So just make sure that you're set up. The EIN is when you change your EIN with an insurance company, it's one of the few things that I can honestly say it's generally kind of like a disaster because, you know, it takes a while. And so there's some crossover with like your old EIN being if it's been in the system. And so it's created a huge issue for my practice when when the EIN was changed over. It took like something like 14 months for me to, this will be the first year that I don't have multiple 1099s from the insurance companies. from the same insurance companies with different EINs.
Yeah, I had issues. So I'm in a process of changing with another insurance provider. And we were trying to figure out, I said, well, here's my new NPI and EIN. And then we were trying to figure out, do we get rid of the individual one? And I'm like, I said, look, I'm just a clinician. I'm just trying to, this is the update,
Your NPI, your type 1 is like your social security. And so like, with, so Jess was like with this particular dietitian that Jess is adding on, Jess takes on that dietitian with her NPI type 1, and that NPI, they can still bill for this. So for the dietitian that Jess is hiring, Hartford Hospital can still be billing under her type, because she's type 1, and then she's associated with Hartford Hospital's EIN. And then when so your NPI type 1 follows you everywhere and can exist in multiple spots at any given time. So like you can work for 6 different practices or companies, and they can be billing for you. It's just that additional EIN, the NPI type 2 that's linked. And sometimes it's harder to conceptualize, because when we're by ourselves, it's like, we're like, why do I even need any of this? But it's the style. That's why it's the business entity that dictates what type of structure you need to have when you bill. Yeah.
Okay. I'll let someone else go. I have a couple more questions, but I don't want to hog it. So I'll let someone else go, and then I'll ask mine.
No, you can keep on asking. I just have to jump onto my group at 12:30. They're gonna start knocking on the door in a couple of minutes.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
You can definitely ask your questions until they come in.
Okay. The other question then is accounting. Like I have there's ADP, and then there's Heartland out here for the accounting. Do you guys use a system?
I use QuickBooks because I have a bookkeeper reconcile my books once a quarter. But I don't use ADP because it's so expensive. I use Square for payroll, and then I have another automation is I have Square. And Jess, who do you use just for payroll?
I actually have ADP.
Yeah.
And it is expensive. It's like, I have my workers' compensation link to it. So it's $130 a month.
Okay.
That includes what I pay for workers' compensation. So I was just looking at Square actually, and that was one of my questions. Like, do they pay your workers' comp too? Because that rate is so much better than what I pay.
Yeah, I feel like they do whatever needs to be. Like, I feel like it's legit. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? I used to use Sure Payroll, and I just did not have an awesome experience with them. But so far, I pay my independent contractors and my employees through Square. It's just a nice option. It's $5 extra to pay an independent contractor per direct deposit. And then Square takes care of all the payroll taxes and things like that. I interviewed a whole bunch of payroll companies, ADP, all of them. ADP is actually who QuickBooks uses. I interviewed the people from Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and I found that all of the big people were like, it just was like, it was crazy. Like, you know what I mean? They're more suited for bigger practices. Yeah. They're more big guns, but historically ADP is like, it's like the ones you want to stay away from if you can.
I agree.
Yeah.
I misunderstood. I thought it was $60 a month. And then I started getting charged $60 every 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, Sure Payroll and, they are, like it's a monthly fee, like, and so you can run as many payrolls as you want.
That's so much better.
So that's important for me because sometimes I'll add in one, and things like that. Yeah. Yeah.
So they do, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Do they pay your workers' compensation directly? Square?
That's a good question. I feel like they probably
must,
do.
Right? They probably do.
They got to. They pay all of the fees. You know what I mean? Like
the taxes. And
all of the money comes out. So
it's a lot.
Like every time I run payroll, it's like, like $2,000 worth of taxes, like getting taken out. Yeah. I'm like, where did it?
No joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So independent contractor versus hiring an employee. I hear that hiring an employee is such a hassle, and I was advised,
Jess will attest to that. Yeah, but it's really how it should be done. So a lot of times in life, it's like you know, I have found in my experience, I sleep much better at night knowing that I'm doing all of the things to the best of my ability. And that best is going to be different on different days, but yeah, so, you know, it depends how you intend to use the employee. You know, some of my dietitians are independent contractors, some of them are employees. I pay interns as employees, which obviously costs me a lot of money. I pay my assistant as, you know, so I try to do as many things right. I'm not perfect, but once I was aware of the difference, you know what I mean? And I have a whole module in on hiring out, and it goes through specifically on the differences between independent contractors and employees, but there is a finite difference and there's a litmus test to take for it. But yeah, we just have to be careful, because if we're audited by the IRS, you pay interest, penalties, and then you pay all the self-employment taxes plus interest and penalties. So, which is probably 20, depending upon how big your practice, lots of money. So, okay, guys, I'm going to switch off here because my February group is waiting in the wings. So hopefully
Hey,
this was helpful.
Amy,
Yeah.
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but
Yeah.
I just realized that I was supposed to be on the 10:30 call, so I really apologize. I don't
That's
know why I
okay.
thought it was not. I was like, I don't recognize these names. So then I looked and realized. So I can't attend that one, but I'm really sorry. I don't want to
Gotcha.
seem like I'm taking advantage and
No, all
attending-
good.
I'm sorry.
All
Okay,
good.
thank you. Sorry.
Okay,
Thank
guys,
you.
I'll see you soon. Okay.